Welcome back to The Price of Business. I'm your host, Kevin Price, talking to you about you and your business. Michael Hones with a company called Caliber Imaging and Diagnostics. I'm really interested in cutting-edge technologies as it relates to healthcare. While we still have those kind of cutting-edge technologies being produced, you never wonder where this crazy healthcare so-called reform is going to lead into areas like this. But anyway, I'm always interested in these stories. And so when I see one come across my radar screen, I ask my producer to set it up. And so today we're going to talk about Caliber Imaging and Diagnostics. Michael, welcome to the program. How are you today?
I'm well, Kevin. How are you? Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you.
You bet. Real quickly, before we even get started with your elevator speech, if you will, kind of give us just give us real quickly your website so we can go check that out, by the way.
Certainly. It's www.caliber, CALIBERID.com. CaliberID.com.
Yep. And real quickly, just give us an overview of what your company's all about.
We're a company that designs, manufactures reflectance confocal microscopes to help dermatologists and physicians basically look under the skin, to look at the cellular level structure, to make a determination so they can make a diagnosis on whether that cellular structure is cancerous or not. We do optical biopsies, basically, as opposed to having to do physical excisions.
Really? So obviously that's much more comfortable if you're getting that type of thing done than what the standard protocol is. Obviously, if it's cancerous, you're going to have some cutting involved no matter what. But if it's not, it's kind of cool to make it taking care of it a much easier way.
That's exactly right. That's the whole premise. Is there, when you understand that, when you're talking to your primary care physicians or someone like that, about 65 to 75% of those biopsies that they do are benign. In other words, they didn't need to be cut. And if there was a tool available, which there hasn't been until now, if there's a tool available to help guide the physician or help the physician make a clinical decision a little easier for both the patient as well as the physician, then that's wonderful, and that's where we're at today. That's what we're pretty excited about here.
Yeah. So exactly. My producer was asking a question: how does it work? How does it work?
So we use a laser, a very low-powered laser, as a light source to image, to shine a light through the skin. Imagine when you're a kid, you used to play with a flashlight. You can put it on the back of on the palm of your hand, and it would shine up through the tissue of your hand, and you could see the top of your hand illuminate.
Yes.
So we do the same thing. We use the properties of the tissue of the tissue of the skin to light up the cellular structure, and we can go down and create a pattern that looks just like typical histopathology, so we can project that image onto a monitor. Imagine a giant iPad with touch, pinch to zoom, and stuff like that, where we can put that on a monitor where a pathologist or a trained physician can look at that image and tell you whether that's basal cell or squamous cell or melanoma or whatever it may be, as well as other types of dermatoses like psoriasis and things of that nature.
Very cool, very cool. And where are you in terms of, are you fully approved now by the FDA?
Yes, we've been cleared. We have a 510K clearance from the FDA. We did not even have to get a PMA to obtain the FDA. So we're approved, and we've been selling the device in the research markets. People that manufacture topical treatments for the skin, like Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble and Avon, Amway, anybody that's manufacturing something for the topical part of the skin, to put something on the skin, whether it's makeup or sunscreens or a topical cancer treatment, has been using this device for a number of years now. And now that we have FDA, we are moving forward to try to move this into the general public for dermatologists and primary care physicians to use this in their practices.
Okay. When did you get that FDA approval?
Actually, the company obtained it originally towards the end of 2008.
Oh, and where are you in terms of getting it out there? You've had it fairly limited. You're now moving it more towards the hospitals and the actual dermatologists and those people on the front line.
That's correct. Today we have We have clinicians using it at places like the University of Miami, Memorial Sloan Kettering, the Brigham and Women's, Dana-Farber Cancer Institute here in Boston, as well as other places, the Mayo Clinics. And now we're moving it from those types of, let's say, teaching hospitals and teaching institutions with clinical practices. UConn, University of Connecticut, Dr. Jane Grant-Kells is using it there. Now we're moving it from the larger institutions. We're beginning to move it into the smaller primary practices of dermatologists, like Dr. Rao, Dr. Asterbrom in California, just a number of those types of folks. So it's kind of a step process where we moved it from the research side of the equation to the large teaching hospitals, research hospitals, now to the private dermatologist practices.
So how accurate is it compared to a biopsy?
I'm sorry?
How accurate is the testing compared to a biopsy?
Very accurate. If you're looking at basal cell, our sensitivity is at 100%. A number of studies to back that up, and if it's the specificity is up in close to almost 90%. So we are, in many cases, as good as, if not better than, the eye. You need to remember that dermatologists basically are very well trained. They're very bright folks, and they're very well trained with pattern recognition. The problem is they only have the capability of looking at the top of the skin, not through the skin. So our goal was not to change the practice. Our goal was just to give the physicians a new tool that will allow them to look into the skin, under the surface of the skin, down to the dermis epidermis junction, to look for cancer cells, and that's what we can do today. So that's the difference between what they do today and what we hope that they can be able to do in the future with our new tool.
Do you have any sense of awareness in terms of the number of doctors are cognizant of your program? Is it pretty well known now, or where are you at?
It's not. We're just kind of getting out there right now. The bulk of our sales in the past have been on the clinical side have been in Europe and in China. We have about 75 systems in clinical practices in China. We have probably 100 to 125 systems in clinical practices in the European theater. So we're very excited about moving it into the U.S. now. So it's funny how the company had basically started in the European theater and has spread to other parts of the world, and now we're finally being able to put some emphasis on the U.S. market.
Well, I'm assuming that's because of how difficult our FDA is.
That's part of it, as well as reimbursement. These doctors need to get paid for using systems, because right now they get paid to do a physical excision. So, we're working on the reimbursement side right now to get our doctors reimbursed for this procedure as well. In fact, we have one insurance company that's reimbursing for reading the images, and now we're talking to them about reimbursing for taking the image to begin with. Much like the early days of ultrasound, where it used to be done by physicians, and now it's done by technicians and things of that nature. So we're kind of moving in that same direction. Our FDA clearance doesn't say we have to use. It does not have to be a physician using the device to take the image. You'd certainly want a physician making the call on whether that's cancer or not. Yeah,
on the interpretation. What kind of how is this cost compared to traditional methodologies that were used before?
About the same, actually, for the actual excision. Compared to doing a physical excision, we're just a little bit less expensive, at least in a couple of the practices that we're in right now. And that's one of our opportunities with the insurance companies. We can actually help them save money on both the imaging side of the equation as well as the pathology side of the equation, because right now there's a code 88305 for the pathologist, and that's split into two parts, the professional component and the technical component. And, our cost on the technical component, of course, isn't a matter of transporting tissue and freezing it and sectioning it and then staining it and putting it into a glass slide. It's only a matter of sending a digital image over our HIPAA-compliant VivaNet network to get that in front of the pathologist to make a read almost real time.
Michael, I got to wrap it up. Michael Hone, he's CEO of Caliber Imaging and Diagnostics. You can learn more about what he's doing at www.caliber, CALIBER, ID.com. That's caliberid.com. Michael, thanks for spending time with us.
Kevin, thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
Hey, I'm going to ask my producer to get some information from you. And again, thanks for being on our show. So I'm going to put you on hold real quick. I'm Kevin Price. When we come back, much more for you. Do want to remind you, best content here. You can find that down the hall over at usdailyreview.com. And this is The Price of Business.